What's going on, Team Takeover? Wayne Shada here with my boy. Come on, talk.
Oh, hey. Thought you were going to say my name there. I was waiting for that. Hey.
Forrest, Shogun above all else. The notorious Shogun above all else. Everybody's
the man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah,
Shogun
everybody's
above
Team
all else.
Takeover favorite vlogger. Shogun above all else. But either way, getting with the theme of getting everybody in, like I said, I'm trying my best to get every Team Takeover member on this vlog. And just to hear everybody's opinion. Of course, there'll be several people that I have on all the time, but nonetheless, we are here, Shogun and I, Forrest. Forrest and I are here to do UFC 132 predictions for this Saturday, July 2nd. Really looking forward to it because to me, this fight between Silva and Lieben is just as emotional for me as the fight between John Jones and Shogun. But we'll get to that eventually. First fight of the night, Dennis Siver versus Matt Wiman. Wiman, I believe, is a tough alumni and big wrestler going against Dennis, spinning back kick Siver. Siver, the Russian-German guy coming out who recently beat George Sotiropoulos, which to me was a big, huge win for him. And he was definitely the underdog of that. In my opinion, I think I have Siver here winning this fight. I figured if Sotiropoulos can't take down Siver and submit him, and that Wyman sure as hell can't. I'm sorry I doubted Siver before, and I refused to down on Saturday. But nonetheless, I do expect Siver to win by decision. I think that he's gonna be closing keeping the distance away from Wyman, especially when Wyman tries to take him down. And I expect Siver to win by decision. What do you think, Forrest?
I agree. I think Dennis Siver's going to win. Dennis Siver is, a big kickboxer, and he's a guy that has power in his hands and definitely power in that spinning back kick. But a point that I would like to touch on is, Wyman versus Sotiropoulos' takedown ability. It's Sotiropoulos is, primarily a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy, and even during the fight, I remember Joe Rogan talking about Jiu-Jitsu guys traditionally don't have great double leg takedowns, and they're content with, and a lot of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys either don't train wrestling so that when they fight wrestlers, they can just let the takedown happen and work from the guard. But I think Wyman is a better wrestler than Sotiropoulos. Definitely not a better grappler, but we didn't see much grappling in the Siver-Sotiropoulos fight. But that fight really surprised me, as I thought Sotiropoulos was really just going to blow through Siver. It was a real big surprise to me. I really like Dennis Siver. I think he's got a lot of power, and he's got some submissions. He knocked down, outspeeded Andre Winner, which is a decent feat, I guess, and submitted him in the first round. He's got some solid wins and really only lost to, Gray Maynard, Melvin Gillard, and Ross Pearson. So I think this is really Siver's fight to lose. I don't think Wyman really has the ability to get to shoot in on a takedown and not have Siver sprawl it. And, if Wyman's in Siver's range, I think Siver is going to blast him. So I have Siver by TKO, I'd say late in the third.
Really? I agree with you. Something I didn't mention. I really think that Siver's going to be trying to stop every takedown that Wyman tries to present to him. I think this is somewhat of a gimme fight. Maybe it's just me. I think the UFC is trying to build Siver up as a legit contender. Not to get anything away from Wyman, but I do think Siver is going to win this. I have it by decision. So we'll see. Siver is definitely has a great set of all-around skills. So it wouldn't surprise me if he either knocks him out or submits him. So we'll see. Second fight is going to be Carlos Condit versus Dong Young King. What do you think? You going to stop me?
Well, I wasn't going to stop you. I was going to say something else about the Dennis Siver Matt Wyman fight.
Go ahead, buddy.
I'm sick of trying to call gimme fights. It's really impossible in this stage of MMA. You know, I thought Brian Stan versus Chris Lieben was a definite gimme fight for Lieben because he just beat Akiyama and Aaron Simpson in like a 2-week period. I thought that I'm trying to remember other fights that I thought were gimme fights, then they weren't.
Griggs versus Bobby Lashley.
Oh, Griggs versus anybody in Strikeforce. I thought he was going to lose to whoever he fought at the Strikeforce. Fedor versus Henderson. I thought he was going to lose to Bobby Lashley. I thought he was going to lose to Wolverine.
Was it John Vellante or something like that? I forget.
I think it's John Vellante. I always get Vellante confused with. I know he fought at that card. I always forget if he fought Del Rosario or Griggs, but I'm pretty sure it's Griggs. I think it's difficult to call a gimme fight, and I think it's going to be close, but I can see Danzig trying to shoot on Seaver sprawling, and Seaver clipping him hard, and maybe submitting him, maybe TKOing him, but I see Seaver finishing this fight.
Okay. Next fight we're going to move on to is going to be Carlos Condit versus Dong Young Kim. Kim hasn't lost, unless you consider the fact that he fought, oh God, I forget his name now.
Caro Parisian.
Thank you, God.
He lost to Caro at, I believe, UFC 94.
Yeah, and Caro
was turned over.
It got turned over because of painkillers.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
God, I miss Caro.
Yeah, whatever. But nonetheless, it's going to be Condit versus Dong Young Kim. I think this fight could go either way. I'm going to go with Condit mainly because he's just on fire as of late. But this fight could go either way. I'm going with Condit by submission. And I honestly can't even tell you why. Not because I'm not educated, because I think this fight could go either way. Both guys are on a big winning streak. So I just when it comes to Greg Jackson guys, I never try to go against them. What do you think, buddy?
I really do think this is stun guns fight all the way. I'm not really too high on Carlos Condit. I really don't see where all the hype is from. People seem to think that he's GSP's biggest challenge, and I really don't see where that comes from. He had a good run in pre-Zuffa WEC, and then he came over to the UFC and lost to Martin Kampmann and fought Jake Ellenberger, a fight that some people thought he should have lost. And I didn't really know much about Condit, and when he fought Rory McDonald, it really showed me that either Rory McDonald is legit or Condit is overrated. And then when he fought Dan Hardy, the hype exploded through the roof for this guy because people were saying Dan Hardy's going to beat him or Condit's going to take him down and submit him, and then Condit throws punches with Hardy and ends up knocking him out. But I really just don't see where the hype comes from. Stun Gun, on the other hand, is a legit grappler. He's a great judo guy. He's he's not the most exciting fighter, but he's a guy that I can really appreciate because of how good he is with his grappling. And technically he's undefeated. Not with that loss with Caro, but I personally think that Condit isn't going to be able to swing and clip Kim with a punch to knock him out because I think Kim's going to clinch with him, take him down, and grind out a 3-round decision. So I personally have a Stun Gun for the win, moving into a possible number 1 contenders fight.
Okay, so we differ by that. Third fight is going to be Tito Ortiz versus Ryan Bader. I'll let you go first, man. What do you think about this fight?
I think this is a hard, at first when this fight was signed, I was a little bit down because I've said many times, it's a well-known fact that Ryan Bader is arguably one of my favorite fighters. I don't know why. I watched Tough 8, and I just sort of fell in love with Ryan Bader, and I've supported him ever since. And but I think I'm the last Tito Ortiz fan in the world. I think I'm it. But as it progressed, I always thought that Bader was just going to blow through him because Tito is, he can't compete with the upper echelon of the sport anymore. But as time progressed, after this fight was signed, I started believing more in the fact that I think this is a very winnable fight for Tito. I think that Bader is, his striking isn't that good. I think technically Tito is a better striker. Wrestling, obviously, Bader is a better wrestler and a better defensive wrestler. But I think Tito is still able to, if he takes Bader down, I think that he's going to, his ground and pound, Tito's ground and pound is still really, really good. And, as was shown in the fight with Forrest Griffin, his elbows are still sharp and they still can hurt people. And, it's a hard fight to call, but my head says Bader, my heart says Tito. I would probably predict a Tito Ortiz decision victory because, I'm not very sure of Bader's submission credentials. And Tito Ortiz, I think what's gotten him by is his great chin. He takes a great punch. And, but I think Bader is going to either take him down and grind out a win because I'm not sure how good Tito is from the bottom or, I'm not expecting an amazing fight because it's two wrestlers, and when two wrestlers fight, they usually stand up on the feet. But I think this is a fight where it's possible for Tito to win, but I'm not expecting a Tito win. I'm expecting Tito to lose every time, and if he wins, I'll be absolutely overjoyed.
Well,
so I'm predicting Ryan Bader by decision.
You're taking Ryan Bader by the decision?
Yes.
Okay. I have Bader by second round ground and pound ref stoppage. I like Tito Ortiz too, so you're not the only Ortiz fan. I respect what he's done for the. He was like actually, in my opinion, the first UFC star. I mean, major star. When it comes to the general population, when the guy came out. I loved his badass style. I loved the fact that he colored his hair. He came out there and he was just this tough as nails guy that it was in your face. I love that. And I actually respected him a lot for his coaching ability, the way he spoke to athletes during the tough. I think generally everybody would say, well, I want certain guys, Rafael Cordero, Greg Jackson to teach me. I mean, if I were to have a good coach, I think the best coach for me personally would probably be Tito because the way that he speaks to his athletes, I know it's not for everybody. But I think Tito's, I don't know. I have a ton of respect for Tito Ortiz. I know as of late he's kind of, he's been annoying and he's made excuses and everything else. The fact that he's friends with Dana White, I think, is the only reason why he's back, still in the UFC. Aside for his, nostalgic and his ability to, I guess, have some type of fans still. But nonetheless, I have Bader winning by second round. I think Bader's going to overpower him. If it goes down to the mat, Bader gets on top, it's going to be a really, really long night for Ortiz. So if they do stand up, Ortiz might get the better of it. I still think Bader has that knockout power. He's a strong dude. So
yeah, Bader has the knockout power, but Tito, he's kind of like Brock Lesnar in that he's able to take a punch. Like, he has a good chin, but he does not like getting hit.
Right.
Like, people talk shit about Brock Lesnar's chin. I do not think Brock Lesnar has a glass chin. I think he has a glass heart. And if you watch the fight with Vanderlei Silva with Tito Ortiz, he actually turns around, covers up, and runs from strikes like that. Mm-hmm. And I'm a firm believer in the fact that you can't teach heart. Like, you can't go into a camp and learn how to fight with heart. I think that's something you either have or you don't. Mm. But, Tito is a guy, it's not like he's been losing, by a major amount like a guy like Chuck Liddell. He's not going out there getting knocked out every fight. He's going out there and competing with decent contenders. Like, he fought Machida and almost submitted him late in the third round. He beat Rashad Evans, but was deducted a point. In my opinion, he beat Forrest Griffin the second time. I think he won. It was either a draw, but I think he won the first 2 rounds. And he was doing all right standing up with Matt Hamill. Is that really saying much? I don't know, but he's not getting blown out of the water every single time. But I think that if he loses to Ryan Bader, I personally do not think the UFC will cut him. I think that
really. I think the fan pressure. I think the fan pressure from that.
Let me explain my mentality behind it. Dana White never said that he would cut Tito Ortiz if he lost. I think because apparently Tito was pressured by Dana White after the Matt Hamill loss to retire. I think that Tito still makes the UFC a lot of money and is still a decent draw based on nostalgia and people tuning in just to see him lose. I think that he's still a pulling power, and I don't think the UFC would cut him and allow that pulling power to go somewhere else and possibly get notoriety for another promotion. But I believe that the UFC will very much pressure Ortiz to retire. And, would I want to see Tito retire? No. I think he's got a lot of fight left in him. And if he wasn't fighting, top contenders like Forrest Griffin, a former champion, like Machida, like Evans, and like Bader, I think that he would win. I personally wanted a fight to be set up with Brandon Vera and Tito Ortiz because, they're both in the same position. They're both on many losses. They're both, in danger of being cut from the UFC. Brandon Vera was cut from the UFC, and that's a fight that I wanted. But they decided to set Tito up with another top contender. So, I don't think that Tito will get cut if he loses. I think he'll be pressured into retirement.
Okay, well, I disagree. But we'll go on to the next one. And you were talking about heart. This fight has plenty of heart, man. I mean, these two guys, I'll be very shocked if this is not going to be fight of the year or definitely fight of the night. I am emotionally invested in this fight. I'm excited.
I'm going to call this fight right now. I'm going to call Vanderlei Silva by lay and pray, shocking everybody.
You're kidding me.
I'm very much kidding you.
but man, I mean, this fight, I'm so excited for this. Both guys seem like they want this. Both guys seem like they want this fight bad. They were both calling out each other. There's a lot of mutual respect between these two. Vanderlei Silva, Chris Lieben. I'm going with my boy Vanderlei. I'm going by decision because I think both these guys are not gonna go down. I definitely don't think both these guys have a lot. Their chins are amazing. I mean, these guys have they could take a punch. I have some concerns about this fight, and I have a huge bias behind this because Silva, he's only dropped down to this weight once. And, he's coming off a huge, I think it's 15-month layoff for this fight.
He fought, last February at the UFC 110 against Bisping. So it's been a long time.
Yeah, but, we'll see, man. I mean, I'm going with Silva. I think this does not go to the ground. I'll be shocked. I'm hoping that Silva takes out the Muay Thai clinch. He hasn't done that in a while. And Lieben did have problems against Anderson Silva. So, I don't know, man. I'm going with Silva. I'm pulling for you, Vanderlei. If by any chance you're watching this, please do this. Do it. Please, I need this. I can't take another loss. I took the Shogun loss horribly. I mean, you're going to see a different vlog altogether.
Don't do that to me, man. I wasn't watching it at my house. I was watching it at this sort of bar atmosphere, which was a little bit away from my house. It was March. It was cold. I live in Canada. And once the ref pulled Jones off, I actually stood up and left the entire room.
I don't blame you.
And I ended up that was terrible. I was actually after the first round, I kind of expected it because Shogun looked gassed, but I still have nightmares about that, man.
I still have nightmares. But anyway, back to the card because we could talk about that for a long time.
Oh yeah.
Who do you got?
I don't want to, but we could.
Yeah, right. Who do you got?
It's an interesting fight because I believe that in his punches, Lieben has more power, and I think that if he hits Vanderlei, I think that Vanderlei's chin, while still good, it's not as good as it was. You know, Vanderlei Silva fought guys Mark Hunt and Krokop and, you know, big power punchers, big K1 level fighters, and heavyweights. You know, this guy is, you know, traditionally a light heavyweight fighter, you know, a 205 fighter, whatever. You know, Pride fanboys will say, oh, no, he's a middleweight fighter because that was Pride's middleweight division. But, you know, he's a 205-pound fighter now dropping down to 185. I believe that if Lieben hits Vanderlei, I think he's going to really hurt Vanderlei. But I'm taking Vanderlei in this fight based on I believe he's more explosive, and despite being regarded as like a wild man, I think that he's a lot more technical than Lieben. Lieben is a guy who likes to brawl out and, you know, throw these big, wide looping lefts and, you know, connect with the chin. But Vanderlei, you know, he's a wild man, but he's still technical to a point. Like, he throws big hooks, but he can also throw straight punches. He has a great, you know, as you mentioned, Muay Thai clinch. I think that if he goes in there composed, you know, controlled aggression is a term that I would use to for a Vanderlei victory. I think that if he brawls with Chris Lieben, Lieben always has that chance to connect with the chin and put a guy down. I think that if Vanderlei goes in and explodes when he needs to and doesn't waste shots and doesn't, you know, allow himself to be drawn in by the crowd's expectations of a brawl, which is what I'm expecting. I'm expecting a war between these two. I think that if Vanderlei fights with a controlled aggression, I think that he can pull out a decision victory because, you know, Lieben, he's been TKO'd twice in his career by Brian Stan and Anderson Silva. I don't believe that Vanderlei Silva, despite being, you know, a god in the mixed martial arts community, I don't believe he's Anderson Silva by any means.
No, I wasn't comparing them the two. I definitely wasn't comparing the two.
I think it's a really close fight and a hard one to predict, but I'm taking Vanderlei by decision.
Okay. And, last fight of the night, Dominic Cruz versus Uriah Faber. I have Cruz winning this by decision. I think Cruz is very much motivated, especially after losing to Faber before. I think if it goes to the mat, obviously I think Faber's going to be the person who's going to have the upper hand in this. But I think Cruz's boxing, and mind you, Faber has decent boxing too, a lot of energy, moves around, great movement. I just think Cruz is going to grind out a decision here. I'll be surprised if Faber wins by submission. I read online a lot of people think Faber might win by submission. I just have Cruz winning this by decision. So what do you think?
First of all, let me just get this out of the way. I hate Dominic Cruz with all my heart and soul. There are very few fighters that I hate more than Dominic Cruz. And I don't know what it is about it. Maybe it's that he dances when he fights. Maybe it's his, you know, his pretty boy face. Maybe it's, you know, I just don't really like him. I think he's a dick. But that aside, I believe that in a very, very close fight, I think Faber wins this. I think that overall Faber is a more well-rounded fighter. He's more like a more athletic, explosive fighter. And I think that, you know, Dominic Cruz, don't get me wrong, he's a good fighter. He's good at what he does, but I don't think that he's going to be able to punch and dance around Uriah Faber. I think Faber is going to either hit him with a big punch or, you know, take Cruz down because, you know, Faber, while not being like a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt or anything, he has good submissions. You know, he submitted Takeya Mizugaki in the first round where, you know, second-degree black belt Reni Yaya couldn't do anything to Mizugaki on the ground. Faber, he has a good guillotine choke, and I think that if he throws that up, he might catch Cruz with it. I think Faber is just a bit more explosive, a bit more athletic, and, you know, just a bit better in just about everything in in every facet of mixed martial arts. Maybe I'm biased, but I'm taking Uriah Faber by unanimous decision.
So there you hear it, folks. We have separate cards and predictions, which is good because usually I have like one fight where we differ. We actually differ by 2, which is good. So either way, I'm going to try to end this as quick as possible because I don't want to bore too many people. Thank you for coming on, Forrest. I really do appreciate it. I'm sure we'll have you on more. Forrest has actually helped me out a lot as far as tinkering some of this OVO stuff, or UVO, whatever, OVO. It doesn't matter.
I guess.
I don't know. But either way, Forrest has been great and a great help. And Forrest writes and he does vlogs. I'm sure you'll see him on the forum, and I'm sure that he'll be writing stuff for the TeamTakeover.tv website. So either way, thank you to everybody that's watching. Everybody, check out the vlogs below me. I usually plug everybody else's vlogs. And peace. And look forward to hopefully a recap of this with either Shogun or somebody else. Well, Forrest. We'll see. Not the real Shogun. No offense.
No. I'm the real Shogun.
There you go. He's claiming he's the real Shogun. Either way, thank you for watching. I dare
you to prove me wrong.
Yeah,
I dare the viewer to prove me wrong.
All right, man. All right, so I'll see you guys later. Peace.
16-year-old Canadian kid.
Thank you. See, now here we go. We've gone from Australia to California. Now we're in Canada, man. Is the technology great? I've said it before, man. It's awesome. So either way,
I think this internet thing is here to stay.
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure
the internet is in here for the long run.
I think we should like invest in some internet websites. What do you think?
Let's buy Google.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
I hear that YouTube stuff is pretty good.
You know what? Forget it. Let's hold a bake sale and let's buy NFC. Let's do that.
That's right, man. All right, man. I'll see you guys later. Thank you for watching. Peace.
See ya.